Hi guys, so today, as part of my random series, I want to talk to us about something that um someone brought it to my attention recently, and I've always wanted to talk about it, but I keep forgetting, and that's about how to get a divorce in Nigeria. I'm going to go straight to the point, and I'm going to explain why I can tell you this despite not being a lawyer. My name is Excellence Enrica Joshua, and I am divorced. Um, been separated for like over for 5 years, and been divorced for 4 years. Yeah, almost 3 4 years. 2018 till now is like no, been separated for 7 years, over 7 years, almost 8 years, and been divorced since 2021. That's 3 4 years. Okay, yes, that's correct. So I just want to work you through if you're a woman that wants to get divorced in Nigeria. This is typically what happens. And I didn't really have a guide. I didn't find so many experiences to teach me when I was getting my divorce. And so this is me giving back to say this is how it works. It's not as simple as it looks, and it's also not cheap. So let me just give you heads up so you can have the full context and understand what you're getting yourself into, and use a calm mind or calm head to get yourself into it. So is divorce possible in Nigeria? Yes. Now, when you get married, there are different types of marriage. There is the customary marriage, which is the one you do in the village, the traditional marriage, and all of that. And then, sorry, and then there is the statutory marriage, which is the one you wed at the registry. The one that you wed at the registry is governed by the court. So I'm not a lawyer, so in case I'm using some languages that I'm going to be as simple as possible, I'm just talking like a normal person that has gone through a divorce in Nigeria, just how it works, right? So that one is binding by the High Court, and if you wed in the court, then and in most churches, I think as well, that give the statutory certificate, you cannot just get divorced in a magistrate court, and you cannot just get divorced by giving back the payment of the dowry that was paid. You have to go to the High Court and file, and it just like every court proceeding, that's how it's going to work. You're going to need a lawyer, you're going to file, there's going to be a hearing and all of that. It's not like Nollywood films that they will say sign the papers, divorce papers. There's nothing like that. At least that is what I found out, except now there's something like that, but that's what I know. Right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get a lawyer. But before that, it's important that you get a lawyer that has your interest at heart, and is ready to listen to you. Because going through a divorce, there's a lot of pain, especially if you're already one petitioning it. And so you might be saying a lot of stories, the ones that make sense, that don't make sense to so many people. You don't want someone that dismisses you. You want someone that listens and knows and is listening to what you want. Because, for example, if you have kids, probably you're not demanding for just a divorce. You're demanding for divorce. You're demanding for maybe full or shared custody of the kids, or maybe some form of support. Even if you don't have kids, maybe you're demanding for shared property and all of that. You really want to work with someone that understands the context of what you're requesting for and why you're requesting for it, and why that is what you want. And so the person is going to fight for you, is all armed, and knows how to advise you properly. Some lawyers are after the money, they're just quick. Oh, it's not divorce. Just bring your name, bring that name. They have a template and they just copy and paste and then put it. Another thing I want to say before I even start talking about the whole process is that whatever they're filing for you, read it through. Read it through. I had that experience. There was a lawyer I first wanted to use, and when the person sent me the brief, I'm like, "Did you read this at all?" It just felt like he just changed the names, maybe someone else's proceeding and all of that, and he misinterpreted some of the things that I had said. I felt he wasn't listening. I was so pissed, and I didn't go with him. So you want someone that really listens. You want someone that is there for you. Please, your lawyer is your friend, should be your friend. Now, the thing about it is that yes, they're lawyers, but they're not exactly your friend because you're still gonna pay them, right? And divorce is very expensive. Expensive, it can go millions of naira. And what I understood is the reason for that is because they said it takes a while. They were telling me that it takes a while. So you'll be going to court all the time and all of that. So just pay one, just so it's too stressful. And someone even said that some people you go to the court, you put all your effort and all of that, and then they come and tell you they're not divorcing again, they've changed their mind, and you've just wasted their time. So the pricing to it, the costing is very dicey. Could go, it could be I'm talking about high court now, not the ones, the customary court and the magistrate court could be cheaper, but the high court can go as high as 500 and even more. That was then, no, this is 2021. So now we're talking about millions. I don't know, depending on your lawyer. One of the key things that I learned first was the 2 year rule. The 2 year requirement, there are a lot of forces to it in Nigeria. 2 year requirement states that you can't divorce within 2 years of marriage. Um, they feel that's too hasty, except you get what they call a leave of court, permitting you to actually file for the divorce. If not, you cannot divorce it. It's just to safeguard a marriage so you don't divorce hastily. Now, that's what is in the law. But what we came to find out was that when you file for a divorce, somehow most judges drag it, somehow just drag it. Um, I don't know if it's, I don't know whether to call it intentionally or not, but they just drag it so that they would see if there's room for reconciliation or if something can be done, because sometimes time heals wound and time changes, and it has shown to work over time, and so most people use it. So beyond the fact that you're filing this in a court, a high court, that there are other cases, and so there's always adjournment, and you have to do the opening and then the hearing, and then so several adjustments. Sometimes your next adjustment, you're not seeing an available date in the next 1, 2, 3 months. You have to wait a while, 5, 6 months. So maybe the total process of your divorce, you're having maybe 6 hearing, but people are like spending 5 years getting it done. So that's what happens. So um what a friend advised me then, a lawyer friend was like, if you're not in a hurry, why don't you just heal? Like, take a step back, heal. Or he was like, is there one bubble somewhere? I said, no. Do you want to marry immediately? I said, no, 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 that's not in my mind. He's like, well, then why don't you just chill, heal, so that when you're approaching this, you have a clear mind and you're approaching it from a place of clarity and strength, not from a place of emotion and hastiness, and then you make the wrong call. And I think that was one of the best counsels I got, and it really helped me. So I stayed put. Also, it was so expensive at the time, but I could not afford it. But I was also pained and angry. I have overwhelming evidence. I'm done with this. Why do I have to now pay all of this money just to yank off this whole contract thing? It was so painful. But yeah, it had to be done, and I was petitioning, so I had to do it. Um, I was out of danger, so there was no way you will get the CSOs, that's the like feeder and all of those people to come help you, because except you have a child that's in danger, you're in danger. Yes, they can advocate for you. If you're not, you don't want petitioning, they won't do that for you, right? You have to pay for it. You have to file. And so I didn't have the money at that time. So I waited until I had the resources. I also had a clear head. I had healed. I knew that no, I'm not going back. And so I filed. At this time when I filed, I had been separated for almost 3 years, no contact at all. Like I'd not seen him. He had not seen me or anything, or the kid, and there was nothing. So yes, you might want to chill. The only challenge is that maybe guys might not want to date you or interact with you because they feel you're still married. You've not The divorce is not final, so they don't want to have interactions with you, and that could really hurt, especially if you meet someone you really like. And so if you're not careful, you now begin to make hasty decisions to quickly get the divorce quickly, which sometimes doesn't typically work. But I feel also that if this person is your person and God really wants you guys together, the Bible says, he that believes does not make haste. I feel he'll wait for you. I feel he'll walk through it with you. I feel he'll believe and trust in you that you get this done and you guys can work through it together. If he's in just a hurry, or he's dismissing you, for me, that's a red flag, right? If you're the woman and you have a man that the man is saying the divorce is not final, you want to see that he's making an effort to do it, but you can wait for him so when he's done, and then you can institute something. That's how I see it. uh if you guys are going to be married for the rest of your life, why are you rushing? What's the haste about? I didn't know that early, but now I do, and those are part of the things I've learned over the years. No need to rush. There's no point. It's not worth it. If there's a rush, then something is fishy, and you don't want to find out what it is by experience, right? Um, so yeah, so those are key basic things. You pay your lawyer, and then they file. After during the COVID and after that, you can now um serve the person via WhatsApp, not only online, if the judge permits it. Another thing I wanted to share that was very important is that to know if you're filing in Nigeria is that it's faster to get the proceeding done in the north than in the developed areas. What I mean in the north, like Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara, all those places, it's very easy and maybe, well, still court, so your paying is cheaper. But what makes it a little bit more expensive is that you probably don't live in those places. So you're going to have to fly. You're going to have to pay for the lawyer's flight ticket as well to come down here. You might need to have not less than 2 or 3 hearings because there's the opening, there's the hearing itself, and then there is the judgment. I'm not sure they can do. I don't know if a judge will want to do the opening and the hearing at the same time, because when they do the opening, they will now tell you to go and serve the defendants, right? Before you will now come call the person for hearing for you, for both of you to hear. In some cases, you have your hearing day separate, and then if there's any witness, then the other one they will have their hearing. So it delays before you now have the judgment. So you see how many appearances. So you're going to pay for the flight ticket, you're going to pay for the accommodation. I had a friend who did hers in Kano, and in 3 months, I think she started in December, by March, early March, she was everything was done. While my was like almost 2 years before mine was completed. So yeah, so if you want to do it in order to get it faster and then you have all the money to spray, just go to the north and get it done. It's also easier if it's consensual, like consensual. Is it consensual? More like if both of you agree that this is done, this is done. So there are some grounds for divorce if the 2 year requirement is met. That is willful and persistent refusal to consummate the marriage. That's no sex, nothing, for whatever reasons. Could be held otherwise. Maybe the person even married out of deceit and can't even have sex, right? um Adultery and the petitioner finds it intolerable to live with. Yes, adultery is something, it's a ground for divorce. And even defend, they could bring infection to you, they could literally kill you. So yeah, it's a ground for divorce, but for some people it's not, but it's a ground. Just know that it's something you can present that is why you want to divorce. There's also behavior such that the petitioner cannot reasonably be expected to live with the respondent. Intolerable conduct. This was mine. This was part of what I used, or this was primarily what I used. Um, then desertion for a continuous period of at least 1 year, and then living apart for at least 2 years, and the respondent does not object. So before I go, the session for a continuous period of at least 1 year is the person just neglects you, no sex and all of that. Will is different from willful and persistent refusal to consummate the marriage. Willful and persistent refusal, you guys never, like it didn't happen. The session is maybe it has happened and then it stops for 1 year, continuous period of at least 1 year. Then living apart for at least 2 years, and the respondent does not object. As you guys are living apart for 2 years, your partner and you do not object. Living apart for at least 3 years. If you're living apart for at least 3 years, whether the partner objects or not, it's still grounds. Now, um, so all of these things I'm saying is, if you choose anyone you're filing on this grounds of, remember that you have to prove the one of behavior that, so the person cannot reasonably be expected to live with the respondent, is what people call irreconcilable differences, right? It covers a lot of things: emotional abuse, it covers so many other things, just a broad blanket. That's why most people tend to file on that ground. But whatever one you're filing on, remember that you have to prove that this marriage has irretrievably broken down, right? um yeah, so yeah, those are cases for divorce. So yes, you do need a lawyer, yes, you need a good one. No, I don't have a recommendation right now. Um but yeah, that's just typically how it is. So if you want it faster, go to the north. If you are doing it somewhere in Lagos or Abuja, you have to give it time. You have to give it time. You have to give it time, and it takes time. It also depends on the lawyer that is hearing the case. The lawyer that is hearing your case will really determine a lot of things. Um, I had long hair. I kept getting a John. My kids kept getting a John because my judge kept, not the lawyer, the judge kept serving, calling for my ex to come, but he didn't show up. So he was said proof to be sure he got it and all of that. So he was in, I think intentionally stretching, just to stretch it. I think he was just doing that to see if there was room or whatever for reconciliation. But no, there wasn't. I was done. So if you're going through a divorce, it's really a hard process, and I really pray that you're strengthened through it. I'm not judging you. I don't want to ask why or anything, right? But I just feel I owe it to you. I didn't really have a guide. A lot of things I had to figure out by myself, and it was really hard. It was hard. It was painful. It was heartbreaking. But I'm good. I remember when I got the judgment. So the judgment comes after the judgment. There's a 3 months window to contest the judgment. If there's no contention of the judgment, you will not get the dissolution of marriage certificate. Do you understand? So the judgment does not just give you the certificate immediately. It takes 3 months. So if anybody wants to appeal the judgment before that dissolution comes. So I remember when I got the judgment, I got home, I got a bottle of wine, and my dad got me another bottle of wine, and I paid it all from my pocket, right? And that was done. And then the 3 months, after the 3 months, my lawyer called me, hey, your certificate is out. And that was it. And that was it. So the judgment is more than dissolution of marriage. The judgment includes the custody of the child. The judgment includes all the things that you petitioned for, which is what covers. So the judgment could be up to 20 pages or something, or like so many pages. But the dissolution of marriage is just the certificate is read, just like certificate with the seal of the court. So yeah, I'm rooting for you guys. It's not like I'm saying divorce is not that simple, and there's no guarantee that the next person will be better. To be honest, so I'm not advocating for divorce, but if that's what you want to do, I'm just telling you the options you have and how it works. I hope this helps. Tell me if it helps. Tell me. Put it in the comments. If you know anyone going through this, please share with the person. Okay, guys. See you another time.